Right. This is my presentation about things that I've learned while exploring the Buffalo River, about the people who have lived here for thousands of years. Mostly is going to be considering the Osage people. But later in the Quapaw started showing up, and also Cherokee were forced along this way, and were some of the first. A lot of bloodlines kind of come from Cherokee. If you're Native American around here, um, I think Searcy County, the county I live in, is or it was at once a safe spot for Cherokee during the Trail of Tears. Um, we'll just go on to how uh, the Buffalo River itself. These are some pictures I've taken. You can see um, there's this picture down here. I think you can see my mouse. It should be on the bottom center. It's the river at full capacity. Basically, it's as high as it's gotten in decades. In '08, I think it did get up to the top of this bridge, but this up to in the top center is where it's at most of the time. At between 6 to 10 feet is a healthy springtime. Late in the summer, it'll get down to 3 feet at this bridge. The bridge is like 40 feet tall for reference. Um, some of these other pictures are pictures I've taken on hikes I've taken that are trails that have been walked for thousands or hundreds of years at least. I would imagine thousands of years ago, people were walking similar ways. They all meet up, they all run along places that have been uh, walked or have been lived in or worked at, or just really cool sites or just easy paths for thousands of years. I mean, it's just not much has been changed about the Buffalo River, and that's what's drawn me towards it. It's a living time capsule. And when I say that, I mean it's protected, it's wild, but it changes every day because it's wild, and we don't really mess with it a ton because uh, we're just trying to keep it as natural as it can be. This is it's one of it was the first protected national river in America because of these reasons, because of how beautiful it is. And I actually get to spend my summer working on the river, helping with canoes. But uh, that just helps me learn a little bit more because Native Americans are known to have had uh, canoe races. They would travel. The life revolved around the river. Things have been found. Uh, people of living the living tribes. They talk about how water is so important to their way of lives. I think Osage means still water or something similar in a translation, but they called themselves something different that was more akin to rivers and streams. Um, and it fits because there's so much water in this area. You get like 40 inches of rain every year, and it's just it all flows into this. If it flows into here from the surrounding areas or uh, into other streams and rivers similar to this, but a lot of those have been dammed now. Let's get on more to the wildlife. You can see uh, some deer fighting up here. Um, on the top right. There's a turkey on the left, bluegill fish I caught on the river, and bobcat down on the bottom that kind of got cut off. But that's just some of the things that they would be hunting or fishing or eating around here. But what they'd be using, uh, let's see, they'd be using things like this to hunt those things. These are arrowheads, dart tips, spear points, knives. There's a couple of grinding stones. It's This is a collection that one of my friends has put together. He has uh, a site on his own property, an overhang, and I don't have any pictures of it, but he has found almost every one of these there. There are a few others that his buddies have found at places of their own, but they just like keeping it together. And I think this one left, um, on the left side, bottom right, it's a small black arrow tip. Um, that one's called the Circe Point. And the Circe Point is mostly only found here in Circe County, hence the name. And so that's a really special one. He got it dated back to, he got one of these dated back to 9,000 years ago. It's the only one he had checked out. I couldn't tell you which, but it was 9,000 years. I think it isn't in this picture, in any of these pictures, actually. Um, but that's how long people have been coming to his shelter that's on his property. And his is a long, uh, just overhang, a rock overhang and along a creek. He calls the creek the Flat Rocks. And there's just it's wild down there. There's a big rock that fell down, and it's kind of acting as a trench wall, kind of, to connect two different parts of it. And uh, he found most of these underneath the main overhang, but there are so much smaller places. Like, I think it could have held 20, 30, maybe 40 people comfortably using the surrounding overhangs, or if it wasn't rainy, there's plenty of flat spots next to a rock that could reflect heat from fires. It was just a really good camping spot. And the these ones were all found, um, or were all donated to the library, the local library here in Searcy County. And you can see the pottery. That handle over here is just really intact. There's just so many arrowheads. People have been collecting these for, I mean, since they've been here. I wish I had better pictures of them, but it's a very, very neat thing just studying these artifacts and learning the way to nap. I went into a nap in around here where people are still practicing making arrowheads, and I talked to this one guy who revolutionized the way of throwing an atlatl. That's not really related, but it's really cool. I'm really interested in learning about how it's done and why it was done. And these people, they're doing the how and they're learning the why, and they're getting a feeling of connection to the people of the past. And hearing them talk about it, it brings a little bit of that into my life. And uh, it's like living archaeology. It's like they're still practicing it because of how preserved things were in the past, and they're making revolutions the same way. I talked to one guy there that learned how to nap these arrowheads by himself without anyone else and using influence because he wanted to do it the way someone might have developed this, like through trial and error. And it took him 11 years to make a confident arrow that would fly for him. And then he went and talked to people, and he was developing the same methods, but he didn't have names for them, that the same names. And it was just, it was a good confirmation of this is how they probably would have went about it. And just a really cool connection. These are all pictures of the Indian Rock House Cave on Panther Creek here on at the Buffalo River. Uh, this I've had the privilege of going there many times. I love hanging out there. The picture where you can see my feet, I actually ended up taking a nap out there. after reading some and like acting like it was telling my own stories, you know. I can imagine people hanging out here, standing around and just swapping stories. And so I wanted to go out there and read and do my own sort of that. And because I've gone out there with people, but they don't seem to understand it the way I would like to. And this one on the far left, it's hard because of the trees to see the whole gauge of it, but it's huge. I don't even know what the measurements might be, but you can go, there's a creek that runs through it basically. It's a spring, uh, and it is pretty fast moving water. Would not want to be caught in it, but it is crystal clear. It is cooled water, and life would have been good in here. Uh, this one on the bottom center is across the creek, but that wall looks like it would have been a really good place. I don't think it was put there on purpose. It might have been placed there, but I don't know for sure. It looks pretty natural, but that could have been a nice little overhang. You could comfortably sit behind that rock and feel safe from anybody or anything. And then these ones that are kind of deeper in the cave, that's just in the back. You can see in this center top right picture, you can see that dark spot. This is where this cave is, and that would have been really protecting yourself. If on really cold nights you could go in there and it'll be 40, 50 degrees all year round. You can put a fire in there and water, and it is all the ceilings don't go down or nothing, so the smoke can still exit, and it's just you could feel the presence that people have lived there for centuries, for millennia, and that's all I really have. I've gone down to other places and done archaeology at um, what's it called? Pettigene Mountain. There's a big Indian rock house cave there too, and but that's not related to the Buffalo River. And I wanted to talk about the people on the Buffalo River and the life that was centered around the waters that are still protected today. And you can see how people have lived and uh, how their lives have been based around this river. Um, and it still is. And uh, we can bring that knowledge and just it feels like there's a magic in the air because of that, because people have been surviving off of this river, relying their whole lives revolving around this river, and we still are today. And it's not a special life, but it's a good one. It's a fulfilling one. Everyone here loves it. It's hard to leave. And I feel like the Native Americans would have thought the same thing with places like this to live everywhere you go. It's perfect conditions for farming with how wet it is. The soil isn't great, but it's wet enough that you can and enough nutrients and that life really thrives. And there's so much biodiversity. There's a lot of protected plants and animals that don't survive in surrounding areas in the United States, but they may survive other places around the world, but they're just not very, uh, or they are very well suited to survive in the Ozarks, in the Buffalo River, especially with how much water it gets, with the just everything. Biodiversity is great here, and people have been drawn to that for centuries, for millennia, obviously. I've been saying that over and over, but it's fascinating how long people have been coming here for the same reasons. And I'm just gonna close it off with that. Thank you for listening. Where's my end recording?